The year is 453 AD and an eclipse has just darkened the skies over the Arabian Peninsula. For some, this would be a moment of terror. To others, it's a sign from God. You are listening to the history of Arabia. Most people think of Arabia as a desert wasteland, and that is not completely wrong. But when we zoom out a little bit, we can see something quite different. We see a land rich with biodiversity. Fertile lands line river valleys and oases dot the deserts like emeralds set in concrete, while at sea, monsoon winds bring temperate climate and enough rainfall to sustain agriculture for much of the rest of the year. The Arabian Peninsula sticks out from the rest of the Middle East and Africa. And despite its dry climate, it hosts hundreds of ethnic groups, each with their own language and culture. But they all have one thing in common: they depend on trade. There is no standing army to protect them from outside interference, so merchants fill the role. They traverse dangerous mountain passes, brave the scorching summer heat, and navigate by the stars to reach oasis towns where they barter spices, textiles, and luxury goods imported from India, China, and Persia. These traders are the eyes and ears of the Arabian Peninsula, bringing news from distant lands. And some of them will become the most powerful men in the region. While the peninsula is home to many different peoples, there are two major hubs of power. In the south, the Himyarite kingdom has grown wealthy thanks to monsoon trade. Its capital, Zabad, is a bustling city full of merchants and scholars. Just north of the capital, down the coast, lie the cities of Aden and Mocha, which control important shipping lanes. There, an industrious people known as the Quraysh have grown powerful as middlemen between the east and the west. In the north, the kingdom of Kinda controls the lucrative frankincense trade and has close ties to the Byzantine Empire. Both kingdoms are ruled by kings who claim descent from the legendary Himyar, the son of Khatan, who settled the south after leaving the land of Saba in the east. The northern Kinda claimed descent from another son, Adli, who moved north to found his dynasty. According to legend, these brothers were then joined by a third sibling, Himyar. Although the story may be little more than myth, there is evidence that a strong cultural connection existed between these three kingdoms. Most notably, they all worshipped a pantheon of gods, shared similar cultural practices, and spoke a language very close to what we know today as Arabic. But these similarities were not enough to unite these kingdoms. In fact, a complex web of alliances and rivalries exists between the various tribes of the peninsula. Add to this the threat posed by the Sassanid Persians to the north and the growing influence of the kingdom of Aksum to the south, and it seems unlikely that these disparate kingdoms will survive the coming centuries. What Arabia needs is someone willing to unite the tribes under one banner, someone with the charisma to bring together such a diverse collection of peoples. Someone like Muhammad, a young man living in Mecca in the year 596. He had risen early, tended his flocks, and drank from the well of Zamzam. As he gazed toward the horizon, he felt a deep sense of unease, a feeling he had been having for weeks. He wasn't sure why, but he decided to seek guidance from the Christian monk Bauhana, a friend of his late father. Now, the teachings of Jesus had always resonated with Muhammad, but as he explained his troubling visions to the monk, he received an answer that surprised him. As Muhammad later recalled, the monk told him to consult with the Quraysh elders, specifically his uncle Abu Talib, who headed the clan. The leading family of Mecca, Abu Talib took his nephew's concerns seriously and convened a meeting of the elders, both Muslim and pagan. Yet the ideas Muhammad shared seemed familiar. His visions described a single, all-powerful God named Allah, one who demanded justice, charity, and submission from his followers. It sounded a lot like the God of Abraham. Could this be a revival of Judaism? Not quite. Muhammad didn't circumcise his followers, and he taught that Jesus was a prophet of God, not his son. He also added elements unique to the region, such as the pilgrimage to the well of Zamzam and veneration of the Kaaba, a building housing idols that stood in the center of Mecca. These revelations formed the basis of a new religion, Islam, whose followers would become known as Muslims. The term itself means submissive, referring to the submission of the self to the will of God, from Muhammad. This meant renouncing idolatry and aligning oneself with the one true God. In the beginning, the teaching spread slowly, but Muhammad was a charismatic preacher and soon gained a following among the poor and disenfranchised. Some of his earliest converts were from the tribe of Quza, who lived outside the protection of Mecca. When faced with persecution, Muhammad fled to Medina, about 340 miles to the north. Here, he built a community based around the teachings of peace, charity, and submission. In Medina, Muhammad continued to receive revelations that formed the basis of the Quran, the holy book of Islam. It became the constitution of the new state, outlining how Muslims should live and govern themselves. Under Muhammad's leadership, Muslims thrived. Trade flourished and alliances with neighboring tribes brought security to the community. Though Muhammad's teachings were rooted in the Abrahamic traditions of Judaism and Christianity, Islam quickly developed its own distinct identity. It offered a message of equality, submitting not only to God, but also to one another. Pagans, Jews and Christians alike could convert to Islam without forfeiting their status in society. By 632, Muhammad's work was done. He had united the tribes of Arabia under one banner and established a thriving state. He died a hero to his followers and a martyr to his enemies. With his death, the task of continuing his work fell to his successor, Abu Bakr, a close friend and confidant of Muhammad. Abu Bakr had been given the honor of burying him after a quick battle with his rivals. He returned to Medina and convened a meeting of Muslims to officially assume the title of Caliph, or successor. Now, his first order of business was to take revenge for the death of the Prophet Muhammad. The leader of the tribe responsible, Suraka, was killed and the tribe driven out of Mecca. This victory was seen as a sign of God's approval of the new caliphate, and soon other Arab kingdoms began to fall in line. The Himyarite king was converted to Islam, and the northern kingdom of Kinda quickly fell. Before long, all of Arabia had submitted to the new caliph. Abu Bakr wasted no time in consolidating power. He appointed governors to oversee the provinces and set about the task of spreading Islam beyond the Arabian Peninsula. At the same time, he worked to solidify the new faith. In 635, he sponsored the first compilation of the Quran, ensuring that future Muslims would have access to the Word of God. Though victorious, the early caliphate was fragile. Rival claimants to the throne and remnants of the old kingdoms threatened the fledgling state. After Abu Bakr's assassination in 634, his successor, Umar, faced rebellions across the empire, but he proved equal to the task. By the end of his reign in 644, he had crushed every major revolt and extended the empire from the Mediterranean Sea to the borders of China. His successor, Uthman, continued this trend. In 656, he conquered the Sasanian Empire, opening up new trade routes to Asia. But not everyone was happy with the rapid expansion of the new religion. Many of the conquered peoples resented their new Muslim overlords. And within Islam, the growing wealth and power of the ruling class created resentment among the common folk. When Uthman was deposed in 656, these tensions boiled over and the first Muslim civil war broke out. Ali, the fourth caliph, tried to mediate between the two sides, but when he sided with the rebels, the civil war grew into a full-blown crisis. Soon, the entire empire was thrown into chaos as armies loyal to Ali fought against those who wanted him deposed. It would take 6 years for the conflict to end, and even then, only partially. When Ali finally emerged victorious, he inherited an empire in chaos. More than a century of civil wars and foreign conquests had taken their toll, and now new threats were gathering on the horizon. As the Arab armies pushed deeper into the Byzantine and Sassanid heartlands, they encountered fortified cities protected by towering walls. Realizing that his armies were not equipped to deal with such defenses, Ali began the conquest of Persia. Using the spoils of war, he equipped his troops with siege engines and trained them in the art of urban warfare. By the time of his death in 661, the Muslim armies were ready for their next move, but who would lead them? Ali left the title of caliph to his brother-in-law, Hassan, hoping to secure peace with the rival claimants. But Hassan chose to abdicate in favor of Muawiyah, the former governor of Syria, starting the Second Umayyad Caliphate. Muawiyah wisely chose to focus on stability rather than conquest. During his reign, he rebuilt the infrastructure of the empire, reformed the tax system, and re-established diplomatic relations with the Byzantines. It was during this period that the Muslim world began to take on its own distinct character. While the Quran provided the foundation for Islamic law, it did not go into detail on how to run a state. Over the next century, Muslim jurists, scholars, and theologians would interpret the Quran to fit the needs of the rapidly changing world. They developed schools of jurisprudence that shaped how Muslims worshipped and governed themselves. And while the Quran encouraged trade and travel, it did not address how to handle the influx of new ideas. That task fell to Muslim philosophers and scientists who incorporated Greek, Indian, and Persian knowledge into their own work. During the Golden Age of Islam, Muslim scholars made important discoveries in astronomy, mathematics, and medicine, preserving ancient texts and building new libraries. Today, visitors to Syria can explore the ruins of Palmyra, a city once described as the bride of the desert. Its towering columns and graceful arches stand as a testament to the skill of Muslim architects. But perhaps the greatest legacy of the Umayyads is the spread of Islam. Under their rule, Muslim missionaries traveled throughout North Africa, Central Asia, and the Iberian Peninsula, converting people to Islam and establishing small communities of Muslims. The stage is now set for the next chapter in the history of the Arab peoples. As Muslim armies push further into Europe, Africa, and Asia, they will encounter new challenges and opportunities. How will they respond? Find out next time on the History of Arabia. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out the rest of our series. Thanks to my supporters for making these videos possible. This is a history. This is a story of caravanserais and kingdoms and of a people who forged empires out of desert sands. Come, let's go back in time. Let us start with the sunrise at the edge of the Arabian Peninsula, where rolling dunes meet a sky ablaze with color. Here, life revolves around the caravan. From before dawn, men, women, and children gather at the edge of the oasis, each carrying their goods on their backs. Some have sacks of incense and myrrh. Others carry jars of perfume or textiles from India. The oldest of them all, a grizzled man with eyes that hold the secrets of the desert, adjusts his necklace of prayer beads and mutters a prayer for safe passage. He has been on these journeys many times before, but each one holds its own surprises, and this one promises to be long and fraught with peril. Among them is a young woman named Khadija, a widow in her early 20s with eyes like polished obsidian and a jaw of stubborn strength. She wears a simple dress of linen, but the necklace around her neck is made of pure gold. She carries no merchandise, only a leather pouch containing her most valuable asset, her wits. In the bustling marketplaces of Yemen, she can turn a few words and a smile into fortunes for herself and her kin. She travels with her uncle, a trader of spices and fine fabrics, and while he dozes on his camel, she takes charge of their wares. The sun climbs higher in the sky as they trudge on, step by step, through the endless dunes. By midday, the heat shimmers in waves off the sand, distorting the world into a mirage. It seems as though they are walking into an ocean of fire. But still they press on, guided by the stars and their own inner compasses, moving towards Mecca, where their caravan is due to arrive in 4 days. Khadija is not merely a face in the crowd. She is renowned throughout Arabia for her sharp tongue and keen mind. Her uncle may be a seasoned trader, but it is she who haggles with merchants and settles disputes. When bandits attack the caravan, it is her quick thinking that saves the day. Though her beauty draws unwanted attention, she does not flinch. Instead, she uses it to her advantage, disarming potential attackers with a smile and a well-placed word. As the caravan approaches Mecca, anticipation grows. They are close to completing their pilgrimage, but the challenges are not over yet. At dusk, when the air cools and the sky turns the color of old parchment, the pilgrims arrive at the edge of Mecca. Relief washes over them. They have successfully completed the arduous journey. Now they can look forward to trading their goods and returning home with newfound riches. As they make their way through the bustling city, the clamor and excitement of the marketplace envelops them. Now, here's something to know about Khadija. She has a sharp eye for opportunity and an even sharper tongue. While other traders might be taken in by the glitz and glamour of Mecca, she knows it's just a phase. So, while everyone else is distracted, she sets her sights on a humble date seller named Muhammad. Little does she know that this unassuming man will change her life and the course of history forever. Meanwhile, among the dunes of the Arabian Peninsula, there was a hidden city that defied the odds. Welcome to Petra, a place where a nomadic tribe once thrived, carving their legacy into sandstone cliffs. The Nabateans were masters of survival, taming the unforgiving desert to create a haven amidst the sand. But their prosperity did not come from oil or gold, but from trade. The Nabateans controlled the flow of goods between Africa, Asia, and Europe, making them unimaginably wealthy. But it's Petra itself that steals the show, carved into the very heart of a mountain. The treasury, as it is known, is a sight to behold, a symphony of stone that seems to defy gravity itself. Yet despite its grandeur, Petra holds secrets close to its chest. What happened to the Nabateans? Why did they vanish without a trace? And what caused the decline of this magnificent city? These questions echo through the ages, unanswered. Far away from the whispers of Petra, a gathering is taking place. It's an assembly of tribal chiefs under the cloak of night. Their tents are pitched around a central fire, creating a sea of shadows and flickering light. And around this fire, they engage in fierce debates, settling disputes and upholding the traditions of their society. For these Bedouins, life is governed by a strict code of honor and hospitality. Guests are welcomed with open arms and poets are revered as heroes. Poetry becomes a weapon and a shield, a means to praise and criticize, to challenge and to defend. It is a reflection of their harsh yet beautiful world. Amidst this desert symphony, one man stands out. His name is Malik ibn Dinar, a tribal chief known for his wisdom and courage. He is a warrior, a poet, and a leader, and his tent is a sanctuary for those seeking refuge. One evening, as the stars paint the sky with their celestial brush, a visitor arrives at Malik's tent. He is a merchant, weary from his travels, and he seeks nothing more than rest and a warm meal. Malik welcomes him without hesitation, offering him food, water, and a place to sleep. And then, as is customary, the merchant pulls out his lute and begins to sing songs of distant lands, tales of adventure and intrigue that captivate Malik and his guests. Among them is a young slave girl named Layla. Unlike the other slaves who serve without question, Layla possesses a spirit of defiance. She yearns for freedom and respect, and she sees in Malik a kindred spirit. As she listens to the merchant's tales, her mind wanders to a world beyond the confines of the tent. She dreams of a time when she, too, can roam free and carve her own destiny. Little does she know that fate has a plan of its own for her. Now, this is a tale as old as time itself, a testament to the enduring power of love and longing. Layla and Majnun, a story that transcends centuries, leaving an imprint on hearts across generations. Layla gazes at Majnun with a mix of admiration and affection. She finds solace in their shared dreams and aspirations, knowing that in him she has found someone who truly understands her. But their idyllic moments together are often shattered by the harsh realities of their circumstances. Layla is a slave, and their love is forbidden, a dangerous secret that could shatter their fragile peace. Despite the obstacles, their bond deepens. They steal moments whenever they can, whispering sweet nothings under the cloak of darkness and sharing stolen kisses that ignite their souls. Their love becomes a beacon in the darkness, a symbol of hope in a world that seems determined to keep them apart. But as their feelings intensify, so does the danger. Whispers of their love reach the ears of Layla's master, a cruel and possessive man who sees her as nothing more than property. Fear grips Layla and Majnun. They know that their secret is in grave danger and that their forbidden love could cost them dearly. As the shadows grow longer and the winds of change blow across the desert, Layla and Majnun find themselves at a crossroads. Will their love prevail against all odds, or will it be extinguished by the harsh realities of their world? The answer lies in the heart of the desert, where love and longing collide in an epic tale that has captured the imagination of generations. And that, dear viewer, brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you've enjoyed journeying back in time with us, experiencing the world of ancient caravans firsthand. If you're eager to continue your adventure, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Each new episode is like a camel's caravan, arriving regularly to take you on another exciting escapade through time. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, the past is never truly gone. It's always with us if we know where to look. The sky above is vast, unending, a deep blue that fades into black at the edges. The desert stretches endlessly around you, a sea of sand dunes and scrubby desert plants under a merciless sun. You have little water and the next oasis is days away. You are alone in this alien landscape. There's a crunch of gravel underfoot and the air shimmers with heat. A hawk cries out overhead, its cry echoing your own loneliness. It feels as though the desert itself is watching you, waiting for you to falter. But you cannot give up. There is no alternative. Survival depends on reaching the oasis, on finding water. The silence is almost deafening, broken only by the whisper of the wind. Each grain of sand is a tiny hammer blow against your skin. The sun beats down relentlessly. Your throat is parched, your tongue swollen in your mouth. Every step you take is a conscious decision, a battle against the urge to collapse, to surrender to the overwhelming odds. The oasis appears on the horizon, a shimmering mirage, beckoning you forward with the promise of water and rest. But as you approach, the desert plays its cruelest trick. The oasis shifts, moves further away. It is a cruel joke, a reminder of your folly in thinking you could survive this wasteland. But then, through gritted teeth and a parched throat, you call out, and miraculously, another traveler appears, stumbling out of the haze. Relief floods you. You are not alone. Together you can make the final push, sharing water and stories of survival. And finally, hand in hand, you reach the life-giving water. You sink to your knees, tears streaming down your face, and drink deeply of the sweet, cold water. The taste is like nothing you have ever known, so refreshing, so life-giving. The fear of death recedes as you realize you have survived the desert's deadly embrace, but the desert is not done with you yet. As night falls, the temperature drops dramatically and the desert wind turns cold and biting. The vastness of the night sky, with its countless stars, overwhelms you. You feel utterly insignificant in the face of such grandeur. The wind whips around you, carrying with it the whisper of ancient spirits, of travelers lost to the sands. Fear grips you as the desert tests your spirit one last time. The wind howls like a wounded animal, shaking the very foundations of your being. You huddle for warmth, seeking solace in the small fire you manage to build. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the storm abates. The wind subsides into a gentle breeze and the stars peek through the thinning clouds. The desert is quiet once more, but the battle against the elements has taken its toll. You are weary, both in body and in spirit. As the first rays of sunlight touch the horizon, you know you must move on. The desert does not care for rest. It demands survival, an endless struggle against the elements. You rise stiffly, your muscles aching from the ordeal. The fire has died down to embers, and you shiver in the morning chill. The desert is a harsh mistress, offering beauty and danger in equal measure. You have stared into the abyss and emerged, battered but unbroken. Now, as the sun climbs higher in the sky, you know you must keep moving, The desert offers no second chances. You are alone again, but the memory of the oasis sustains you. You will survive, because you have seen the face of death and refuse to yield. The desert may be unforgiving, but you are more tenacious. So, you turn and face the rising sun, ready to meet whatever challenges the day may bring. For you have survived the worst the desert can offer, and that knowledge gives you strength. You are on a journey across the desert with a caravan of camels. The rhythm of life here is relentless. You walk beside the camels, their padded feet pressing silently into the sand. Their swaying humps rise and fall, like ships on an ocean of dunes. The sound is steady, the creak of leather harnesses, the low grumble of animals, the occasional command shouted by the caravan leader. Water is rationed carefully. Each person carries only enough for a short drink at intervals, not enough to quench true thirst. Your lips dry, your throat roughens, and the thought of water begins to weigh on your mind more than hunger, more than fatigue. The animals, too, need their share, and sometimes their survival takes priority over yours. As the hours pass, the sun climbs higher, the sand grows hotter, until even through your sandals, you feel the warmth pressing into your feet. The air is no longer fresh, it is heavy, shimmering with mirages. You can smell the dry earth, the faint scent of camel sweat, and the resin of incense packed tightly in jars. Behind you, the caravan stretches as far as you can see, a line of trudging figures and lumbering beasts disappearing into the haze. Before you, the path is a ribbon of gray winding through the tawny sea of sand dunes. Beside you, the old woman limps along, leaning heavily on her gnarled staff. Her eyes, though, are bright and sharp. She does not break stride or fall behind, and you wonder how much water she is saving for herself. You glance at the man carrying your supplies. His face is obscured by the folds of his robe, but you can see the muscles bunching in his arms and the determined set of his shoulders. Up ahead, the caravan leader raises his hand, and the procession slows to a halt. The animals are given a moment to rest, and you are told to make camp for the night. While the fires are started and tents are pitched, you take a moment to yourself. You sit on a nearby dune, letting the cool evening breeze brush against your skin. The sky is a vast expanse of velvet, studded with a million glittering stars. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of light, and the constellations you have learned to read tell you that you are far from home. A soft whistle breaks the silence, and you turn to see the old woman approaching. She sits down beside you, without a sound, her eyes fixed on the dancing flames. After a long silence, she speaks, her voice raspy with thirst. She tells you stories of the desert, of the people who live here, of the dangers that lurk in the dunes. She speaks of oases that shimmer on the horizon, just out of reach, and of snakes that slither in the sand, waiting to strike. You listen, mesmerized, and when she finished speaking, you realize that you have learned more in this one evening than you had expected to learn on your entire journey. As the night wears on, the temperature drops, and the wind picks up, whipping the sand into miniature cyclones that dance around your tent. You hear the mournful cry of an owl and the rustling of unseen creatures in the darkness. When the first rays of sunlight touch the eastern horizon, you know that the desert has not been kind to those who do not respect its power. You gather your things and prepare to move on. The old woman is nowhere to be seen, but her staff is propped against a dune, and you pick it up to use as a walking stick yourself. As you join the caravan and begin to trudge through the endless sea of sand, you feel the weight of the desert pressing in on you, a relentless, unforgiving landscape that tests your limits and challenges your will. But you keep walking. You must keep walking. For the desert is a harsh and unforgiving mistress, and those who fail to heed her warnings are lost forever. You have seen the burning sand, the endless dunes, the suffocating heat, the biting wind. But beyond the natural hardships, there are human dangers. You hear talk among the men of tribal feuds, of raiders who might strike at isolated caravans. The desert is not only harsh, it is political. Safe passage requires negotiation, tribute or alliances. A caravan leader is as much a diplomat as a merchant, skilled at reading the shifting loyalties of tribes that control the wells and oases. At midday, when the sun reaches its peak, the caravan halts for a brief rest. You lie under a cloth stretched for shade. The air is still hot, but at least dimmed. You chew on dried dates or a scrap of bread, hard and stale, but filling enough. Conversation is muted. Everyone conserves energy. Then, at a signal, you rise again, brush the sand from your robe, and continue the march. The monotony sets in, one foot before the other, one dune after another. The desert has no landmarks, only endless repetition. Time blurs. Hours feel like days, and yet you must keep to a schedule. The desert is as much a battle against time as against the elements. The nights are cold. You pull your cloak tight against the wind that bites through any hole, any weakness. The stars are a cold comfort, offering no warmth to those huddled around a meager fire. Sleep offers an escape, a dream of cooler climes, of meadows and murmuring streams, of cool stone cities. But then the wind rises, whipping sand into a frenzy. You wake gasping, choking on sand that has found its way into your clothes, into your hair, into your eyes. There are other sounds that haunt your nights, the sudden screech of an eagle, the slither of a snake, the whisper of a dervish mad with hunger, or worse, the unsettling quiet that speaks of unseen predators stalking their prey. Sometimes the desert is kind. Rain, rare and precious, falls in sheets, turning the thirsty ground a brilliant red, a splash of color in the monochrome waste. You kneel and cup your hands, letting the water trickle through your fingers, drinking deeply. There are oases, too, pockets of life in the vast emptiness, palms that sway in the breeze, their fronds rustling like whispers. You rest by the pool, watching the play of light and shadow, listening to the murmur of water. Here, for a moment, the desert seems less a curse than a blessing, a place of solace rather than torment. But even here, danger lurks. Bandits lie in wait, hiding in the tall grasses near the pool's edge. They strike quickly, taking what they want by force, leaving behind a trail of blood and shattered bones. And then there are the mirages, the cruelest trick of the desert. You see it shimmering on the horizon, a lake perhaps, or a waterfall, inviting, alluring, a promise of water and rest. You walk towards it, your pace quickening, hope rising. But the closer you get, the more it recedes. Finally, you are close enough to see that what you have been chasing is nothing but a shimmering heat haze, a cruel mockery of your thirst. When the sky darkens and the wind shifts, you know a sandstorm is coming. You see it first as a dark cloud on the horizon, then as a towering wall of sand blotting out the sun. You huddle with the others, shielding your face, trying to keep your footing as the wind screams and the sand lashes against you, blinding you, choking you. You are at the mercy of the storm, buffeted, tumbled, buried, and when it passes, you are left coughing, disoriented, staring at a sky drained of color. All around you, the desert has shifted, reshaped, hiding what little landmarks you had to guide you. The storm has erased the path, leaving you lost. If you survive the storm, you may find yourself alone, separated from the caravan, stripped of everything but the clothes on your back and the staff that was your only weapon. You are at the mercy of the elements, the sun, the wind, the sand, the occasional oasis with its lurking dangers. You walk until your feet are raw, until your lips are cracked and bleeding. You are a speck in a vast emptiness, utterly alone, utterly forgotten. The desert is testing you, breaking you, shaping you. It is a crucible of pain and solitude. Can you survive it? Only one answer matters. You wake to the sun already high in the sky, another cloudless day over endless dunes of burning sand. The air is hot, even the shade offers little respite. You pull your scarf tighter, shielding your face from the relentless glare. Around you, the caravan stirs. Men, women, and children yawn, their bodies stiff from a night spent in the unforgiving embrace of the desert. They, too, are eager to escape the heat, to find some solace in the fleeting shade or the brief respite of a cool breeze. But the desert offers little comfort. It is a harsh mistress, demanding respect and offering no quarter. And yet, within this monotony, there is rhythm. The creak of packs, the plodding of camels, the whisper of sand moving in the wind. These sounds become like a lullaby, steady, unchanging, almost comforting in their persistence. You follow the winding path, each step a small victory over the overwhelming heat. In the distance, you see it first as a shimmering mirage, then slowly taking shape, a small oasis, a cluster of palm trees and a pool of water. Hope, like a fragile bird, flutters in your chest. Could this be it? Could there be life? Shade? Salvation? The caravan presses on, their eyes fixed on that distant shimmer. And when they finally reach it, there is a collective sigh, a release of tension that has been building since the journey began. The oasis is a sanctuary, a moment of respite in the unending sea of sand. You rest by the water, its coolness soothing your parched skin. You pluck a ripe date from a nearby tree, its sweet juice dripping down your chin. For a few precious moments, the desert seems far away, a dream from which you have woken. But the respite is short-lived. The rhythm of the caravan must be kept. The long journey is far from over. With renewed energy, you help the others prepare for the next leg of the journey. Tents are packed, animals are prepared, and soon you are all moving again, leaving the oasis behind, a shimmering memory in the vast expanse of sand. As the evening comes, the heat fades, a faint coolness returns. The caravan circles for the night, animals tethered, fires lit for cooking. The desert sky reveals itself again in full glory, stars scattered in countless numbers, brighter than you have ever seen. You lie on a thin mat, your body aching, your lips dry, and yet your mind quiets under the vastness above. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of stars, and you feel a strange sense of connection with everything around you, the endless dunes, the distant mountains, the silent stars. For a moment, the pain in your body, the thirst on your lips, all of it fades away. There is only you and the desert and the rhythm of the universe. The desert, in its stark beauty, has a way of stripping everything away, leaving you raw and vulnerable. But it also has a strange power to heal, to soothe, to bring a strange sense of peace. You think of the oasis, of the cool water and the rustling palm trees. It feels like a lifetime away, yet you know that tomorrow you will see it again. The rhythm of the caravan will lead you back to that point of respite, and in that knowledge, you find comfort. Sleep comes fitfully, broken by the cries of nocturnal creatures and the shifting of the wind. You dream of water, of lush green fields, of life. And when you wake, you are thirsty, so thirsty, but you do not call out, you do not complain. You are a creature of the desert now, and the desert has its own laws. You must endure, you must adapt, you must keep moving. As the first rays of sunlight touch your skin, you know that the journey is not just about reaching a destination. It's about the road, about the endless, unforgiving road. The desert tests you, breaks you, but also makes you stronger, more resilient, more alive. You are changed by the rhythm of the caravan, by the whisper of the wind, by the endless expanse of sand and sky. Still, you understand, you would not last long here. A day, perhaps, or two, but not the months required to cross the trade routes of Arabia. The life of the caravaner is one of endurance, patience, and submission to forces greater than oneself. And as you drift in thought listening to the last low murmurs of men and the soft rustle of sand, you prepare to leave this weary daily life and enter the story of someone who not only survived in this world, but thrived within it, a remarkable merchant woman who shaped history. Her name was Fatima al-Firi, daughter of a powerful family from the Moroccan city of Fez. Her father, a well-known merchant himself, had amassed great wealth trading gold, ivory, and slaves across the Sahara. When he died, he left his estate to his widow and children, including his 5-year-old daughter Fatima. But the widow soon remarried, and the stepmother was not kind to Fatima or her siblings. As a result, the children were forced to make their own way in the world. Fatima grew up quickly, and with the help of her brother's patronage, she began to trade in the markets of Fez at the age of 18. Although women in this era were generally confined to the domestic sphere, there were exceptions. Some women could own property, engage in business transactions, and even travel outside the home if they were accompanied by a male relative. However, for most women, life was still primarily about fulfilling their religious duties and those related to the household. This was certainly true for Fatima's mother, who after the death of her first husband, devoted herself to managing her late husband's estate and caring for her children. But Fatima yearned for something more, something that took her beyond the familiar sights, sounds, and faces of her hometown. So when her brother returned from a trip through the Sahara and spoke of the riches to be found further south, she decided to set out on a journey of her own. She assembled a small caravan and set off into the vast expanse of the desert. It was an arduous journey, fraught with danger at every turn. Bandits, harsh weather conditions, and the unforgiving terrain all conspired to test the limits of human endurance. But Fatima was determined to succeed, and so she pressed on, her caravan slowly making its way across the seemingly endless dunes. What makes Fatima's story remarkable is not just that she embarked on such a perilous journey, but that she did so at a time when it was virtually unheard of for a woman to do so. In fact, she is believed to be the first woman in history to have undertaken such a voyage. As her caravan moved across the Sahara, she encountered a variety of peoples and cultures, each more fascinating than the last. They were the Tuaregs, a nomadic people who lived in the Sahara for centuries, as well as the Berbers, who inhabited the North African coast. Each interaction left an indelible mark on her, shaping her worldview and broadening her understanding of the world around her. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. She faced numerous challenges, from negotiating with tribal leaders to fending off attacks from rival traders. Through it all, she remained steadfast, her determination never wavering. Despite the odds stacked against her, she succeeded where many men had failed before her, reaching the fabled city of Timbuktu and establishing a lucrative trade network between Morocco and the empires of the Western Sahara. Upon her return to Morocco, Fatima became a wealthy and influential member of society. She used her newfound wealth to build schools and mosques, helping to spread Islam throughout North Africa. She also became a patron of the arts and sciences, attracting scholars and intellectuals from all over the known world. Yet despite her many accomplishments, she remained humble, never forgetting the struggles she had endured to achieve success. In fact, she is remembered not just as a successful businesswoman, but as a symbol of female empowerment and the triumph of the human spirit. The story of Fatima, the first woman to cross the Sahara, is a testament to the power of determination and the unyielding spirit of humanity. Her legacy continues to inspire people across the globe, reminding us that with courage and perseverance, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve our dreams. Now, as we sit here beneath the star-studded sky, we invite you to reflect on your own journey through life. What obstacles have you faced? What dreams have you dared to pursue? And what adventures still lie ahead for you? Remember Fatima and the countless other adventurers who dared to explore the unknown. Let their stories be a source of inspiration as you navigate your own path through this vast and wondrous world. For just as Fatima once embarked on her journey across the Sahara, you have a world of possibilities waiting to be discovered. All you need is the courage to take the first step. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you enjoyed this tale, we invite you to stay tuned for more exciting stories. Until next time, may your journey be filled with wonder and your spirit with unwavering determination. Her world was not without peril. Rival merchants sought unfair advantage, bandits lurked outside the city, and natural disasters could decimate a caravan. But it was worth the risk because the profits were high. Control over trade routes meant power and prestige. And no one understood this better than Khadija. Her influence grew, drawing the attention of a young merchant named Muhammad, son of Abdullah. Like her, he was known for his honesty and reliability. But while Khadija's business acumen was shaped by her family and upbringing, Muhammad's story took an extraordinary turn. He experienced what would later be called the Hira revelation, where he received the first of his prophetic messages. Their paths crossed, and they began to discuss the possibility of a partnership. For Muhammad, it was an opportunity to expand his small trading business. For Khadija, it was a chance to invest in someone she believed was destined for greatness. They married and soon expanded his horizons beyond the familiar routes of the Mecca. Trade winds carried tales of lands far off, like the Habesha kingdom, famed for its gold, ivory, and precious stones. Intrigued, Muhammad decided to venture there, taking with him not just merchandise, but a small group of trusted companions. Among them was a young man named Abu Bakr, whose friendship with Muhammad would become a cornerstone of early Islamic history. Traveling to a land no Meccan had seen before was dangerous. There were no established routes or allies. Each day was filled with uncertainty, whether it was finding water in the unforgiving desert or navigating treacherous mountain passes. But Muhammad's companions were inspired by his quiet determination and unwavering faith. When they finally reached the Nabateans, they faced a different set of challenges. A different language, customs, and a king wary of outsiders. Yet Muhammad's respect for local traditions and his companions' skills in trade diplomacy paved the way for success. They bartered for goods, forged alliances, and most importantly, returned safely to Mecca with treasures that dazzled the local market. Back in Mecca, whispers of their incredible journey mingled with rumors of a new message from God through Muhammad. Khadija, ever the astute businesswoman, saw an opportunity. She encouraged Muhammad to continue expanding their trade network, this time to the booming city of Yathrib, now known as Medina. With a caravan laden with Habasha's finest exports, Muhammad and his companions set out on their next adventure. But this journey was not just about trade. It was also a mission to spread the message of Islam. In Medina, they found receptive ears, especially among the marginalized and those seeking social change. As Muhammad's following grew, so did the threats from the Meccan merchants who feared losing their privileged status. Persecutions and boycotts became harsher, forcing Muslims to seek refuge in Ethiopia. It was a painful separation, but Khadija stood firmly by her husband's side, providing both emotional support and practical guidance. Back in Mecca, she helped establish a self-sustaining Muslim community, ensuring they had the resources to endure the hardships of the boycott. When the boycott was eventually lifted, it was Khadija who played a key role in brokering a reconciliation between the merchants and the Muslims, showcasing her ability to navigate complex negotiations. Though she never traveled beyond Mecca, her spirit accompanied every journey, every prayer, every step towards building a new life. As Muhammad's health declined, Khadija nursed him back to health, demonstrating a devotion that transcended their roles as husband and wife. She was his partner, confidant, and pillar of strength until his death in 11, where she was the first to join him in the afterlife. Their legacy lived on in their two surviving children, Hassan and Hussein, and the countless lives they touched during their remarkable journey together. From the bustling markets of Mecca to the evolving landscape of Medina, the story of Muhammad and Khadija unfolded, shaping not just a personal narrative, but the course of history itself. Her wealth was significant. Her caravans are said to have been larger than those of many of her male counterparts. Imagine her influence. While others entrusted their fortunes to agents, Khadija commanded an empire of trade that stretched beyond Arabia's borders. She became known as Al-Tahira, the Pure One, for her integrity and fairness in business dealings. But wealth alone does not make a figure memorable. It was her choices, her vision, and her strength of character that gave her a lasting legacy. One of those choices was to employ a young man named Muhammad ibn Abdullah. At the time, he was known simply as Al-Amin, the trustworthy one. Khadija hired him to lead one of her caravans north, to Syria. He was younger, less experienced, but had already gained a reputation for honesty. The caravan returned not only with profit, but with stories of Muhammad's careful management, his fairness, his lack of greed. His conduct impressed Khadijah deeply. Imagine her hearing the reports from her servants, how he dealt honestly in trade, how he treated them with respect, how he neither squandered wealth nor shirked responsibility. Fast forward a few years and now Muhammad is leading a different kind of caravan. It's not the 60s and 70s, but it's not hard to imagine. Instead of goods, these journeys carry words that will transform lives, shape empires, and echo through the corridors of history. His companions, they're not peddlers or merchants, but seekers of truth, each carrying the weight of humanity's spiritual fortune. Muhammad, now a beacon of faith, guides these caravans, not for personal gain, but for the greater good. The destination, not a marketplace, but the very essence of human understanding. And what does he find there? What does he bring back from this journey that makes him stop in awe, turn back from the brink of despair, kneel before the reality of existence? Well, that's what we'll try to discover today. The first thing he found was a turning point in his life, the moment when his world shifted and purpose became clear. This happened during a pilgrimage to the city of Mecca. You see, for all his achievements and influence, Muhammad wasn't just a powerful leader. He was also a devout Muslim, a worshipper of one God, Allah. But like many great leaders, he faced opposition, moments when his faith and life were threatened. During one such perilous journey to Mecca, violence erupted. His followers were attacked and many lost their lives. This dramatic event became a turning point for Muhammad. Faced with death, he contemplated the meaning of existence, the purpose of life, and the nature of the divine. This introspective journey led him to the realization that life is a test, a trial sent by God to evaluate and elevate his spirit. It's a profound lesson about faith, resilience, and the unwavering belief in a higher purpose. Through this experience, Muhammad's resolve strengthened and his connection with his faith deepened. This revelation served as a guiding light, illuminating his path forward and reinforcing his commitment to his beliefs. Now let's talk about the second thing he found, which was his strength in solitude. Because leadership isn't always about grand gestures and public triumphs. Sometimes it means enduring silently, carrying burdens that others can't see. When faced with betrayal and hardship, Muhammad didn't just strategize or rally troops. He spent time alone, drawing strength from solitude. These weren't moments of weakness, but of quiet power. He sought solace and clarity in solitude, emerging with a renewed sense of purpose and strength to confront the challenges ahead. It's a testament to the power of inner strength and the importance of mental fortitude in times of crisis. And finally, the third thing he found was his voice. Not everyone finds theirs. It's easy to be lost in the echoes of history, to feel like your story ain't worth telling or your voice doesn't matter. But Muhammad's story is a reminder that our voices, like pebbles tossed into a still pond, create ripples that can change the world. His journey from obscurity to leadership wasn't easy. He faced mockery, persecution, and even violence. Yet he didn't just endure. He spoke out against injustice, calling for equality and compassion. His words cut through the noise, resonating with those who yearned for a better world. It's a powerful lesson in the transformative power of speaking up, of using your voice to challenge the status quo and fight for a better future. So remember, friends, life is a journey, not a destination. Every step, every challenge, every triumph is a chance to grow, to learn, and most importantly, to discover who you are created to be. Don't just go through life, go for it. Embrace the adventure. Face your fears and use your voice. After all, you never know whose life you might touch or what impact your actions might have on the world around you. Just like Muhammad, keep moving forward, keep speaking out, and keep believing in a better tomorrow, because that's the only way to truly make a difference. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support means everything to us. Peace be upon him. Khadijah took notice. In time, she proposed marriage. She was around 40 years old. he 25. The age difference was significant, but so was their mutual respect. They decided to marry, and their marriage was not just a union of two people, but soon became a beacon of hope for many. Together, they built a partnership not only of affection, but of purpose. Their household became a center of warmth and stability, a place where people could find solace and strength. Khadija bore several children, and though some of them did not survive into adulthood, her role as mother and matriarch was profound. She played a pivotal role in shaping the early Muslim community, welcoming people who found refuge in their home and providing them with the necessary support and guidance. Her house became the hub of the growing Muslim community. It was here that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions planned their strategies, consoled those in need, and fostered unity among the followers of Islam. As the persecution of Muslims intensified, Khadija's home provided a sanctuary, a shield against the storms of adversity. Through it all, Khadija stood steadfast, her faith unwavering, her spirit unbreakable. Years later, Muhammad himself would remember her not only as his wife, but as his supporter, his confidant, and his anchor in difficult times. For when Muhammad began to retreat to the caves outside Mecca, seeking solitude and reflection, it was Khadija who reassured him when he returned shaken from visions and revelations. When he doubted himself, she affirmed him. When others mocked him, she defended him. She was the first to believe in him as a prophet, the first to accept his message. Her belief didn't waver even when the most difficult trials came. The young Muslim community was constantly under threat. Abu Talib, the Prophet's uncle, recognized these dangers, and to protect his family, he arranged for the Prophet's marriage to a wealthy merchant's daughter named Khadija. This marriage wasn't just about uniting two people. It was about forging an alliance, creating a bond that would stand strong against the turbulent tides of tribal rivalries and religious conflicts that marked their society. At the time, Muhammad was an independent trader, and this union with Khadija provided him with not only financial stability, but also a platform to uplift his social standing. However, what truly made this marriage significant was the profound impact it had on the course of human history. For within this union, the seeds of a new faith were sown, nurtured by the love and devotion of two individuals who dared to dream of a world transformed by the message of one God. After the demise of his wife, Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, the Prophet Muhammad continued to draw strength from the values and principles they had established during their time together. He carried on his prophetic mission with renewed vigor, knowing that he had the legacy of his beloved Khadija to guide him. The story of Khadija is a testament to the power of love, faith, and resilience. Her unwavering belief in her husband's prophetic mission, coupled with her steadfast support, enabled the nascent Muslim community to flourish in the face of adversity. Khadija's life serves as a guiding light for all women, demonstrating that they can be not just partners in faith, but also architects of societal transformation. Today, as we reflect on her extraordinary journey, let us be inspired by her indomitable spirit and her profound impact on the course of history. May her story continue to empower and uplift generations to come. If you like the video, please don't forget to share and subscribe for more updates. Thank you for watching. Peace be upon you. Imagine the weight of that. You're a new business venture. You've got a great idea. You've got the drive. You've got the passion. But what you don't have is anyone who believes in your vision. No one who will take a chance on your idea. No one who will fund your dreams. How do you make a start? How do you prove your worth? It's a question every entrepreneur, every innovator has asked at some point, and sometimes the answer comes in the most unexpected forms. This is a story about such an answer. A story about a man and a woman who believed in him when no one else did, who gave him the chance he needed when he had none. A story about how a partnership, a bond of love and trust can change the course of history. In the bustling city of Mecca in the 7th century, there lived a man named Muhammad. His life was unremarkable, or so it seems. He was a trader by profession, honest and hard-working, but not extraordinary. That was until he met Khadija, a merchant of some renown. She was known not just for her business acumen, but also for her piety, her kindness, and her courage. When Khadija first heard Muhammad's message, she didn't dismiss it as the ravings of a madman. She didn't ridicule it as the ignorant masses did. She listened, she pondered, and she believed. Her belief didn't waver when others mocked him or when the powerful threatened him. It only grew stronger. Why? Because in a world where faith was contested and new ideas were met with suspicion, where tradition was God, where the mighty few oppressed the powerless many, her steady presence offered not just comfort, but legitimacy. Her wealth, her status, her conviction gave Muhammad a foundation upon which to begin his mission. But her role is often reduced to that of a footnote in his story. But in truth, she was far more than that. She was a merchant of remarkable ability in her own right, a woman of deep conviction, and a partner whose influence shaped the course of history. When she passed away, Muhammad mourned deeply. He would later call the year of her death the year of sorrow, for it marked the loss of both his wife and his protector, his closest companion. Yet even in grief, her legacy lived on, for in the tapestry of their lives, Khadija's thread was woven with gold. Think of her whenever you hear the word Mecca. Think of her whenever you think of Islam's early days, for she wasn't just a figure by Muhammad's side. She was a pillar of strength in their shared journey. Some might say her belief in Muhammad was a risk, a gamble that paid off. But that diminishes her spirit, her intelligence, her faith. She wasn't taking a risk. She was making an investment in a man she believed in a vision he shared, in a future they both envisioned. Today, we remember her not just because she was the first to believe in Muhammad, but because she embodied excellence. In a world that often applauds ambition and drive, let us also celebrate the quiet strength and unwavering belief of the first to believe. Let her story be a lesson in recognizing the quiet heroes among us, those who stand by us, not because they have to, but because they choose to, those who believe in our dreams not for their own benefit, but because they see the good in our visions. When you face skepticism, when you feel like giving up, remember Khadija. When you need a reminder of what true partnership means, remember Khadija. When you want to understand the meaning of quiet strength, remember Khadija, the first to believe. It's hard to imagine the world of Islam without Muhammad, the Prophet. His teachings, his life, his legacy continue to inspire billions around the world. But what if I told you there was someone whose belief in him made all the difference? Someone whose faith in his message paved the way for millions to embrace Islam. Yes, the Prophet Muhammad had a wife, a partner, and a confidant in the remarkable Khadija. Khadija, a successful merchant in her own right, was known not just for her business acumen, but also for her deep religious convictions. When she first heard the Prophet's message, she didn't hesitate. She became his first convert, his first to believe. So the next time you hear the Prophet's story, remember Khadija, the first to believe, the first to stand by the message of Islam, the first to invest her heart and soul into the journey that would change the world. Her story is a testament to the power of faith, the strength of conviction, and the enduring impact of one woman's belief in the face of all odds. We end today's episode here. If you liked this episode, share your feedback in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Your feedback keeps us motivated to keep you engaged and to keep telling these stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and remember, the smallest step of faith can move mountains. Thank you for listening. When you hear the word Petra, what do you see? Is it a sun-scorched vision of a lost city? A maze of tunnels cut into sheer rock faces? Or is it a feeling, the whisper of ancient stories carried on the wind? This is Petra, a city sculpted by human hands and the relentless caress of wind and rain, nestled among the cliffs of a narrow gorge in southern Jordan. It's a place where time seems to fold in on itself, where the past isn't just a memory, it's a tangible presence. It was here in this very spot that the Nabatean caravanners established a hub that would one day become a city, a testament to their spirit of trade and exploration. You can almost feel their presence here, Can't you? The merchants with their wares spilling out of their sacks, the architects laying out their plans for the city, the engineers devising ways to bring water from distant springs through a series of ingenious channels. They called this place Petra, which means rock in Arabic, but it's more than just rock. It's a poem etched in stone, a story written in layers of sandstone. Imagine the desert wind, hot and laden with the scent of sand and sage, whipping through these silent streets. Picture the shafts of sunlight piercing the gloom of the gorge, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Can you hear the echo of voices raised in prayer in the colonnaded streets, or the murmur of traders bartering for silks and spices? Feel the soft tread of sandals on the smooth, worn stones. Smell the incense mingling with the aroma of roasting meat. Taste the sweet dates plucked fresh from palm trees swaying in the distance. See the graceful sweep of a dancer's arms under the star-studded sky. Hear the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer as he shapes a horseshoe. Feel the cool touch of flowing water from the nearby springs that sustain this desert oasis. Now let your gaze wander through the treasury, its facade adorned with a Roman emperor's visage. See the play of light and shadow as the sun climbs higher in the sky. Then follow the path to the monastery, its sheer marble face a canvas for the stories of those who came before. And when you stand before the high place of sacrifice, where rituals were performed atop a hill overlooking the city, feel the weight of history beneath your feet. These are just a few of the chapters in the book of Petra, each rock face, each inscription, each crumbling wall, a page filled with tales of a civilization that thrived in this inhospitable landscape. The Nabateans were masters of their domain, navigating the perilous trade routes of Arabia, controlling the flow of vital resources, and building a city that defied the harsh environment. But like all tales, the story of Petra has chapters yet unwritten. As you walk among these ruins, let your imagination run wild. What other wonders did the Nabateans create? What secrets do the shadows hold? What echoes of laughter and sorrow linger in the silent streets? How did the city change as empires rose and fell? What stories do the stones whisper to those who listen closely? And as your journey through Petra draws to a close, take a moment to appreciate the resilience of this place. Despite earthquakes, erosion, and the passage of time, Petra endures, its pink sandstone glowing like a beacon against the stark desert landscape. In the end, Petra is more than just a collection of ancient ruins. It's a portal to the past, a window into the lives, hopes, and dreams of a people who call this place home. It is an invitation to explore the depths of our shared human history and to marvel at the ingenuity and spirit of those who came before us. So as you leave the treasury behind, know that you carry a piece of its magic with you. And when the call of adventure beckons again, return to Petra in your heart and let the desert wind carry you back to this timeless place, where the whispers of the past mingle with the songs of today. The desert is vast, but it is not empty. Hidden among its cliffs and valleys are places of astonishing beauty, places that seem almost otherworldly, shaped by human hands over centuries. Among the most remarkable of these is Petra, the rose-red city of the Nabateans. Picture this: you've spent days journeying across the arid, unforgiving land, following a barely discernible path through the seemingly endless desert. The landscape offers few clues to the wonders it conceals until suddenly the terrain shifts. The path narrows, revealing towering walls of sandstone rising on either side, forming a winding passage known as the Sick. The air grows cooler in the shadowed canyon, and the only sound is the soft echo of your footsteps on the ancient stone, a rhythm that has been repeated here for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. Then, as if in a dream, the narrow walls suddenly open, as if by magic, and before you stands the Treasury Al-Qaza, a monumental facade carved directly into the cliff, its columns and statues glowing with a soft rose hue in the desert light. It feels less like a building and more like a vision, a city summoned out of the rock itself. Welcome to our series, where we take you to the most awe-inspiring places in the world. Today, we journey to the heart of Jordan to uncover the secrets of Petra, a lost city carved into the rose-red cliffs of a desert valley. Join us as we explore its monumental architecture, uncover its fascinating history, and learn how this ancient wonder is bridging the past and the present. Petra, often referred to as the Lost City, is actually quite easy to find. Its location was known to locals for centuries, but it was kept secret from outsiders to protect it from looters. However, in 1812, a Swiss explorer rediscovered Petra and introduced it to the Western world. Since then, it has become one of the world's most famous archaeological sites, attracting visitors from all corners of the globe. But what makes Petra so special? Why does this ancient city continue to captivate the imaginations of so many people around the world? One of the most remarkable aspects of Petra is the sheer scale and complexity of its architecture. Carved directly into the face of a mountain, the treasury is the most iconic example of Petra's architectural prowess. Its intricate facade adorned with elaborate carvings and statues stands as a testament to the skill and dedication of the Nabatean engineers and artists. But the treasury is just one of many marvels that make up Petra. The city's extensive network of tombs, temples, and other structures, many carved into the surrounding cliffs, offer a glimpse into the lives and beliefs of the people who once called Petra home. Exploring Petra is truly a journey through time. As you wander through the winding passages and climb the steep stairs, you can't help but feel a sense of awe at the ingenuity of those who built this city. It is a reminder of the incredible civilizations that thrived in this region and the lasting impact they have had on our world. Petra is also a place of great natural beauty. The city is nestled in a dramatic desert landscape that is both rugged and stunning. The red sandstone cliffs that surround Petra create a sense of mystery and intrigue, while the lush vegetation and sparkling fountains provide a welcome respite from the desert heat. It is a place where the natural and man-made wonders of the world come together to create an experience that is truly unforgettable. In recent years, Petra has become a popular destination for adventure seekers. There are plenty of opportunities to get active and experience Petra in a whole new way. Visitors can go rock climbing, mountain biking, and hiking, all while taking in the breathtaking views of the desert landscape. For those looking for a more relaxing experience, there are also plenty of opportunities to simply soak up the atmosphere and take in the stunning surroundings. One of the best things about visiting Petra is the chance to learn about a completely different way of life. The city's history dates back to the Nabatean kingdom, a fascinating civilization that thrived in this region from the 4th century BC to the 1st century AD. The Nabateans were known for their skills in engineering, architecture, and trade, and they left behind a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder today. By exploring Petra, visitors can learn about this fascinating civilization and gain a deeper appreciation for their cultural achievements. In conclusion, Petra is much more than just an ancient city. It's a place of wonder, beauty, and adventure. Whether you're looking to explore ancient ruins, experience a different culture, or simply get away from it all, Petra has something for everyone. So why not plan a trip to this amazing destination and see for yourself the magic that has captivated so many people throughout history? Thank you for joining us on this journey to Petra. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more travel adventures. And if you've ever been to Petra, we would love to hear about your experience in the comments below. Until next time, safe and happy travels. In today's video, we will talk about the mysterious builders of Petra. Hello and welcome to my channel. The world is full of mysteries that continue to baffle us, places and artifacts that make us wonder about the ingenuity and brilliance of our ancestors. One such marvel is Petra, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Jordan that continues to captivate visitors from around the world. But what many people don't know is the story behind its construction and the identity of its mysterious builders, the Nabateans. Who were the Nabateans? The Nabateans were originally nomadic Bedouin tribes who learned to thrive in the harsh desert conditions of northwest Arabia. Over time, they became masters of trade, controlling the routes that carried incense, spices, and other precious goods between Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. As trade flourished, so did their wealth and influence, which they used to establish a kingdom in the 4th century BCE. The capital of this kingdom was the magnificent city of Petra, which became the crown jewel of the Nabatean Empire. But what made Petra so remarkable was not just its grandeur or its location nestled between mountains, but its ingenuity. The Nabateans understood the desert and its people like no other. They knew how to harness the scarce resources available to them and transform them into something extraordinary. For example, they carved channels into the rock to direct the rare rainfall away from the city, where it would quickly run off into the dry river beds. Instead, they built dams and reservoirs to store the precious water, such as the impressive system of cisterns known as the Royal Reservoir, which could hold up to 30,000 cubic meters of water. Just imagine the sound of water trickling into cool, dark stone basins, a soothing melody that echoed throughout the city and a testament to the Nabateans' mastery over their environment. Without such ingenious systems, a city of this scale could never have survived in such a harsh environment. Petra was more than just a testament to the Nabateans' engineering skills. It was also a melting pot of cultures. The Nabateans were a syncretic people, which means that they readily adopted and integrated different cultures, ideas, and people into their society. This is reflected in their architecture, which is a unique blend of Greek, Egyptian, and local Arabian forms. For example, you can see Greek columns and statues, Egyptian hieroglyphics and motifs, and traditional Arabian arches and patterns all fused together into something uniquely Nabatean. This cultural fusion is evident throughout the city, from the facades of the treasury and the monastery to the smaller details, such as the designs on the coins minted in Petra. Walking through the streets of Petra today, you can't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the ingenuity and creativity of its builders. You can explore the famous sites such as the treasury and the monastery, but you can also discover the traces of everyday life in Petra. You can visit the homes and shops of the Nabatean people, walk down the bustling market street, and see the remains of a public bathroom, all of which offer a glimpse into the daily life of the people who lived here. And as you walk through the city, you can't help but notice the wear and tear on the stones, the smooth surfaces worn by countless footsteps over the centuries. These are not just relics of the past, but tangible connections to the people who walked these paths before us. As you continue to explore Petra, you'll encounter other fascinating structures such as the Roman amphitheater, the Great Temple, and the High Place of Sacrifice. Each site offers a unique perspective on the Nabatean culture and their ability to adapt and integrate different cultural influences into their society. Unfortunately, the Nabatean kingdom came to an end in the 1st century CE when the Roman Empire annexed Petra into its territory. However, their legacy lived on in the ruins of this once great city, waiting to be discovered by the modern world. Today, Petra is a popular tourist destination and a symbol of Jordan's rich history and cultural heritage. Visitors from around the world come to marvel at the stunning architecture and learn about the fascinating history of the Nabatean kingdom. So, if you ever have the chance to visit Petra, I highly recommend it. Not only is it a beautiful place, but it is also a reminder of the incredible achievements of our ancestors and the importance of preserving cultural heritage for future generations. What do you think about Petra? Would you like to visit this amazing place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos about archaeology and history. Thanks for watching. See you next time. The Treasury at Petra, Jordan is one of the world's most breathtaking archaeological sites. Carved into a sandstone cliff 400 meters above the valley floor, this elaborate structure is a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. But for all its grandeur, the treasury holds many secrets close to its heart, and while archaeologists have made significant progress in uncovering its mysteries, many questions remain unanswered. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today, we will be discussing the unanswered questions surrounding the treasury at Petra. If you enjoy what you hear, please please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now let us begin our journey back in time to the 1st century AD, when the Nabatean kingdom was at the height of its power. This was a time when international trade routes were becoming increasingly important, and cities along these routes like Petra flourished due to the exchange of goods and ideas. The Nabateans were a nomadic tribe that originated in southern Jordan and northern Saudi Arabia. They were known for their expertise in trading incense and other valuable commodities. As their wealth grew, so did their influence. They established a powerful kingdom that controlled key trade routes and had close ties with both Rome and Egypt. But how did the Nabateans carve out their empire? Their success can be attributed to a number of factors, including their strategic location, skilled diplomacy, and adaptability. The Nabatean kingdom was situated in a region that was rich in natural resources and served as a crossroads between Africa, Asia, and Europe. This made it an ideal location for trade, and the Nabateans took full advantage of it. They were expert negotiators and formed alliances with neighboring kingdoms to ensure the safety of trade routes through their territory. Additionally, the Nabateans were highly adaptable and were able to integrate into different cultures, learning local languages and customs to facilitate trade. At the height of their power, the Nabateans ruled over a vast empire that stretched from the Arabian Peninsula to the Mediterranean Sea. But how did they maintain control over such a large area? The answer lies in their innovative water management system. The Nabateans were able to thrive in the arid desert environment by developing sophisticated irrigation networks that brought water from distant sources to their crops. This allowed them to grow food in the desert and sustain a large population. As the Nabatean kingdom prospered, it became a melting pot of cultures, with people from all over the known world visiting Petra to trade or simply marvel at its beauty. But how did this cultural exchange shape the city? The answer can be found in the ruins themselves. Many of the buildings and structures in Petra bear witness to the influence of different cultures. For example, the Temple of the Winged Lions, a unique structure that combines Greek, Roman, and Nabatean architectural styles. It's a testament to the cultural diversity that thrived in the city. Despite its grandeur, Petra eventually declined. But why did this once great city fall into ruin? There are several theories to explain its decline. Some scholars believe that changing trade routes led to the city's downfall, while others point to Roman conquest as the cause. However, many experts agree that a combination of factors, including natural disasters and the changing political landscape of the region, contributed to Petra's demise. In conclusion, Petra is a place where history comes alive. The ruins of this ancient city tell the story of a powerful kingdom that thrived on trade and cultural exchange. While we may never know all of its secrets, the unanswered questions only serve to deepen our fascination with this remarkable site. The treasury at Petra is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Its importance in history and culture cannot be overstated. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the treasury at Petra and the Nabatean kingdom. If you did, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious. Welcome to this place where ancient wonders meet the desert's embrace, where history whispers from sandstone cliffs and echoes in the Sikh's embrace. Join me as we unravel the enigma that is Petra, the lost city carved in stone. Now imagine walking through the city at dusk, when the cliffs glow red and gold and silence falls heavy. The bustling crowds have vanished, leaving you in a world of shadows and solitude. You might sit at the base of a carved column, running your hand over the cool stone, and wonder about the people who once stood here. Traders returning from far-off lands, their camels laden with treasures, silks and spices, their faces etched with the stories of their journeys. Priests on their way to the temple, their robes flowing in the desert wind, their voices chanting ancient prayers. Families strolling to the market, their children laughing, their wares displayed on colorful mats, the scent of fresh bread mingling with the desert air. Their world is gone, but its imprint remains in stone. Petra, also known as the Rose City, is an ancient city that was carved into the sandstone cliffs of southern Jordan. It was the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, a powerful trading empire that flourished in the 4th century BCE to the 1st century CE. The city was built by the Nabateans, who were known for their skills in engineering, architecture, and trade. They used their knowledge of the desert and their ability to manage water resources to create a thriving metropolis in the middle of the Arabian Peninsula. The most famous landmark of Petra is the treasury, a monumental structure carved into the cliff face. It was probably built as a tomb for one of the Nabatean kings or a member of their royal family. The treasury is a masterpiece of Nabatean architecture, and it is one of the most iconic examples of Romanesque architecture in the ancient world. It is decorated with intricate carvings and inscriptions that depict scenes from mythology and history. The building materials used in the construction of Petra are primarily sandstone and limestone. These materials were readily available in the region, and the Nabateans were able to use them to create structures that were both beautiful and durable. The sandstone cliffs of Petra are famous for their color, which ranges from pale pink to deep red. The color comes from the iron oxide that is present in the sandstone. The color of the cliffs changes depending on the time of day and the weather conditions. At sunset, the cliffs often glow a brilliant red and orange, which is why Petra is sometimes called the Rose City. One of the most impressive aspects of Petra is the way that it was built into the natural landscape. The Nabateans were able to create a series of structures that blended seamlessly with the surrounding cliffs and mountains. They used the natural contours of the landscape to create their buildings, and they decorated those buildings with carvings that depicted the natural world. The most famous example of this is the monastery, a huge building that is carved into a narrow gorge. The Nabateans were also skilled engineers, and they were able to use the natural resources of the region to create a complex system of dams, reservoirs, and aqueducts. They used these systems to manage water resources, which allowed them to grow crops and sustain a large population. The decline of Petra began in the 2nd century CE when the Roman Empire expanded into the region. The Romans conquered the Nabatean kingdom and Petra lost its independence. The city was also affected by the decline of trade in the Red Sea, which had been a major source of wealth for the Nabateans. By the 4th century CE, Petra was abandoned and it was lost to the desert sands for centuries. Petra remained hidden from the outside world until it was rediscovered by Western travelers in the 19th century. Today, Petra is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the Middle East. Visitors from all over the world come to marvel at the ancient city and learn about its fascinating history. As you wander through the deserted streets of Petra, you can't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the ingenuity and creativity of the Nabatean people. Their ability to carve such intricate structures out of solid rock is truly remarkable, and the way that they were able to blend their buildings with the natural landscape is breathtaking. As you stand before the treasury at sunset, watching the cliffs glow red and orange, you feel a connection to the past and the people who once walked these streets. You wonder about their lives, their customs, and their beliefs. You realize that although their civilization is long gone, their legacy lives on in the stones of Petra. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more fascinating historical tales. Until next time, may your days be filled with the wonders of history and the joy of discovery. Thank you for watching. As night descends, the stars once again emerge, countless and bright above the desert. The treasury is bathed in moonlight, its columns softened, its details blurred. You can almost hear the whisper of the desert wind playing through the ruins, mixing with the echo of voices long gone. Voices like that of the Nabateans, the ancient people who made this place their home. Voices that once rang out across these very streets, filling the city with life and laughter. Voices that sang of triumph and resilience, of trade and travel, of love and loss. I can almost see them now, the Nabateans, standing shoulder to shoulder, gazing up at the same stars that blanket the night sky tonight, their city spread out before them, a testament to their greatness. They must have felt a quiet pride knowing that they lived in one of the most extraordinary places on earth, a place where sandstone cliffs met the sky and where water flowed freely through ingenious channels. And yet, as I walk among the ruins, I'm reminded that this pride was not to last. For the Nabateans, like all people, knew the bitter sweetness of life. They, too, had seen empires rise and fall, had weathered droughts and floods, had felt the sting of betrayal and the ache of loss. But through it all, they had endured, adapting and evolving, always striving to build a better future for their children. But then suddenly, it all came crashing down. Earthquakes, climate change, perhaps even the might of Rome, all conspired to bring an end to Petra as we know it. And so, we are left with this, a silent city that whispers of both greatness and impermanence, a reminder that no matter how great we may be, our time in the sun is always limited. It's tempting to romanticize their way of life, to imagine that they lived in a world of endless sunshine and warm wines, where the only worries one might have were where to find the next juicy fig, or how to best recite the praises of your camel. But history tells a different story. Life in pre-Islamic Arabia was not all sunshine and figs. It was a harsh and unforgiving land, a place where survival often meant battling the elements and fighting for resources. Yet despite these challenges, the Arabs of pre-Islamic Arabia thrived. They built great cities like Petra and Hegra, developed complex social structures, and created a rich culture that blended poetry, religion, and a deep connection to the natural world. Their nomadic traditions gave them a fierce independence and adaptability, while their poetry reflected a profound understanding of the human condition. At the heart of their society were the values of hospitality and generosity. Guests were revered and poets were celebrated as some of the highest forms of flattery. A skilled poet could elevate his tribe and ingratiate himself to his chief, all through the power of his words. In a world without written records, poetry was the highest form of literature, a way to preserve history and pass it down to future generations. There was even a structured system of poetic duels where two poets from opposing tribes would recite verses in turn, each trying to outdo the other with wit and wordplay. These duels were not just a test of poetic skill, but also a means of settling disputes and maintaining order within the community. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of pre-Islamic Arabic society was the code of honor known as the Sana'a. This was a set of rules that governed every aspect of a man's life, from the way he treated his family and guests to how he conducted himself in battle. To be a man of honor was to be respected and feared, to live by the code of the sword and to defend one's reputation with one's life. It was a world of strictures and expectations, but it was also a world of great beauty and passion, a world where poetry could elevate you to the heavens and where honor was everything. And yet, like the ruins of Petra, this way of life did not last. With the coming of Islam, much of this culture was lost, leaving us with only fragments of what once was. But perhaps that is why we are drawn to places like Petra and Hegra, because in their ruins, we find a reflection of our own mortality, a reminder that even the greatest civilizations eventually crumble to dust. And yet, in that dust, we find the seeds of something new, something that, like the stars above, will continue to shine long after we are gone. From here, we turn our gaze not to stone, but to fabric and firelight, not to mystery, but to society. For our final segment, we will step into the tent of a tribal chief in pre-Islamic Arabia to glimpse the life of the elite, their poetry, their hospitality, and the codes of honor that shaped their world. Join me, won't you? Come and sit by the fire and let the stories of Arabia unfold before your eyes. In the pre-Islamic era of Arabia, survival often depended on the whims of others, forcing the nomadic tribes to form alliances through acts of generosity. This wasn't just kindness, it was honor. It was a way of life. And nowhere was this more visible than in the tent of a tribal chief. Now picture the scene. The day's heat has faded and the desert is cool beneath a canopy of stars. In the distance, fires flicker, casting a warm glow against the sand. At the center of the encampment stands a great tent, made of woven goat hair, its dark fabric blending into the night. Inside, lamps cast a soft golden light, illuminating rugs spread across the ground, cushions arranged for comfort, and vessels of water and milk placed ready for guests. You step inside, and the air carries the fragrance of burning wood, of roasted meat, and of spiced drinks. Around you, the hum of conversation flows gently, voices rising and falling like a tide. This tent wasn't just a shelter, it was a symbol of power, wealth, and hospitality. For the chief, welcoming guests was more than just a courtesy, it was a duty. It was an opportunity to display their status and demonstrate their generosity. The greater the number of guests they could host, the more valuable their hospitality, and thus the higher their status in society. The tents of the chiefs were large, sometimes accommodating up to 100 guests at once. They were richly decorated with intricate patterns that symbolized the tribe's history and values. The interior was divided into sections. One area was reserved for the chief and his family, another for the male guests, and a third, smaller tent within the main tent for the female guests. As you enter the main area, you see the chief seated on a raised platform, his family gathered around him. He is dressed in fine robes, his head adorned with a distinctive headdress. His wife sits beside him, her body modestly covered, yet her face and arms bare, showcasing the intricate henna tattoos adorning them. Their children are playing nearby, their laughter echoing in the spacious tent. Across from them are the male guests, sitting cross-legged on cushions on the ground, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of oil lamps hanging from ropes suspended between the tent poles. They have come from far and wide, some on foot, some on camels or horses, their faces withered and worn from the harsh desert sun. They are traders, storytellers, warriors, and scholars, drawn together by the promise of good food, warm hospitality, and stimulating conversation. Between the chief's family and the guests is the food. It is laid out on a low table, a feast fit for a king. Roasted meats, spiced rice, fresh fruits and vegetables, all washed down with sweet dates and strong coffee. The women, veiled and seated in the inner tent, prepare the food and serve it to the guests while men engage in lively discussions about poetry, politics, and the latest news from distant lands. After the meal, the men return to the main tent to partake in a traditional Arabic custom, the gawa, a strong and bitter coffee mixed with cardamom and served in small-handled cups. The gawa is more than just a drink, it is a symbol of friendship and trust. To serve it is a sign of respect, and to accept it is a sign of acceptance. As they sip the coffee, the men talk about everything and nothing, sharing stories, jokes, and poems. Some play chess or dominoes, their voices echoing in the vast space of the tent. Others sit in silence, enjoying the comfortable quietude, lost in their thoughts. In this moment, there is no war, no thirst, no hunger. There is only the soft glow of the lamps, the murmur of voices, and the clink of cups. There is peace. It is a rare moment of tranquility in a world that often seems chaotic and unpredictable, a reminder that even in the harshest of environments, life can still be beautiful, that human connection can still be powerful, and that hope can still endure. Join us next time as we continue our journey through time and space to explore more moments in history that shaped our world. Until then, stay curious and keep asking questions. After all, the more we learn, the more we grow. And in a world that's always changing, growing is essential. Here in this Arabian night, beneath the desert moon so bright, there sits a chief, his people near, not distant on a golden chair, but here with us, his presence felt, his gaze both keen and gentle. A chief who values wisdom's light, more than riches or the fight. His robe is fine, his bearing calm, reflecting inner peace, while poets at his side prepare to weave with words both strong and fair. For poetry was art and life, in Arabia's ancient strife, a means to preserve, to celebrate, to avenge insults, seal a state, to build an alliance, make it known, to sing of love, of loss, of home. A single line, a single verse, could carry fame or bring disgrace, and echo through the ages hence, a well-crafted rhyme, a potent chance, to build a legacy that would endure, a testament both pure and sure, a chief who values wisdom's light, more than riches or the fight. With steady rhythm, voices rise, reciting tales beneath the skies, of camels strong and desert wide, oases where palm trees hide, of journeys fraught with peril and quest, of love that knows no bounds or rest, of battles fierce and victories won. Under the blazing desert sun, they speak of loyalty and trust, of honor held in highest dust, of bravery and sacrifice. In every word, a work of art, woven with images so bright, they dance before our wondering sight, each line a pearl, each verse a gem, a shining legacy to them who value poetry's embrace, its power to elevate and trace the human spirit's endless quest for truth, for beauty, and for rest, a chief who values wisdom's light more than riches or the fight, where words are weapons finely honed, and every syllable is sown with meaning deep and purpose clear, to conquer hearts and conquer fear, to stir the soul and raise the mind, to leave the commonplace behind. The poets pause, the rhythm slows, as if in reverence, in solemn repose, for in these timeless, wordless lays, the heartbeat of a culture stays, alive and vibrant, strong and true, a testament for me and you, to spoken word, its magic spell, a story without end or tell, of desert sands and starry skies, beneath the moon's eternal eyes. A chief who values wisdom's light, more than riches or the fight, for poetry was all in Arabia's ancient call, a means to build, to break, to mend, a story without end. In a world where all is fleeting, where traditions fade and customs change, there is a place where time seems to stand still, where the echoes of ancient rituals resonate through the ages. This is a land where hospitality is not a courtesy, but a law. A place where guests are sacred. You are welcome to this sacred space. Let me share with you what unfolds within these mystical tents. Prepare to be amazed by the warmth and generosity that awaits you. The sun beats down on the vast expanse of sand, creating shimmering waves of heat. In the distance, the tents shimmer like mirages, promising respite from the unforgiving sun. As you step into the tent, you are greeted by a sight that takes your breath away. A low table adorned with a tapestry of vibrant colors catches your eye. Upon it, a feast fit for royalty awaits. Imagine this, plump juicy dates piled high, their sweetness a tease of what's to come. Bowls of fresh berries burst with vibrant hues, offering a refreshing contrast to the dates' rich decadence. Bowls of yogurt, cool and creamy, promise a soothing respite from the desert's fiery embrace. And let us not forget the centerpiece of this culinary masterpiece, a whole roasted lamb, its aroma a symphony of spices and succulent goodness. Each dish tells a story of tradition, each bite a testament to the Bedouins' deep connection to their land and heritage. As the host, an influential Bedouin chief, he welcomes you with open arms, ready to share not just his feast, but the stories that have been woven into the fabric of his culture for generations. But our journey into the heart of Bedouin culture has just begun. In the bustling heart of the market, amidst the vibrant chaos of colors, sounds, and textures, you find yourself face to face with an age-old tradition, the art of Bedouin hospitality. Here, the concept of a guest is elevated to the status of an honored visitor, a sacred individual who deserves the utmost respect and care. The true essence of Bedouin culture shines through in this profound custom. To truly grasp the depth of this tradition, one must understand the nomadic lifestyle that has shaped it. Picture this, the Bedouins traversing the vast desert landscapes, journeying from one oasis to the next, their lives intertwined with the rhythm of the shifting sands. In this world of constant movement, the concept of hospitality becomes more than just a custom. It transforms into a lifeline. Imagine the scorching sun beating down on weary travelers, their bodies parched from thirst and exhaustion. Suddenly, through the haze of fatigue, they spot a welcoming sign, a Bedouin tent offering solace and respite from the unforgiving desert. As they approach, they are met with a sight that revives both their body and soul. Bowls of fresh dates, a symbol of warmth and generosity, are offered to quench their thirst. Imagine the sweet, refreshing taste of these dates as they melt in your mouth, providing a moment of pure bliss in the midst of their journey. But the kindness doesn't end there. The Bedouins go above and beyond to ensure the comfort of their guests. They offer bowls of yogurt, a cooling and soothing treat that provides relief from the desert heat. It's as if each bowl, a miniature oasis, a gesture that speaks volumes about their caring and hospitable nature. And then comes the most extraordinary part of this heartwarming tradition. The Bedouins, despite their own needs and hardships, are willing to sacrifice their most precious resource, water, to help their guests. In a land where water is scarce and life is challenging, this act of kindness is nothing short of heroic. It's a profound display of compassion that touches the very core of human emotion. But why, you might wonder, do the Bedouins go to such lengths to help strangers? The answer lies deep within their cultural values. For the Bedouins, welcoming guests is not just a custom, it's a way of life. It's a reflection of their deep-rooted traditions and their strong sense of community. It's about preserving their heritage and passing it on to future generations. Sadly, this ancient and beautiful tradition is fading away. But in some places, the spirit of hospitality still burns bright. It's a reminder of the values that have shaped Bedouin society for centuries, a testament to their resilience and their unwavering commitment to their cultural roots. As we continue our journey through the heart of Bedou culture, we invite you to embrace the spirit of hospitality. Let us know in the comments below how this story touched you and what you admire about Bedouin traditions. Together, we can keep these rich cultural heritages alive. But honor is as present as generosity. Codes of loyalty, courage, and reputation guide every action. To betray one's word is to invite shame. To protect one's kin is to fulfill duty. Stories of bravery are told around the fire, not as boasts, but as affirmations of the values that sustain the tribe. You sit in the circle, listening. The voices are calm, the rhythms gentle. A boy leans against his father's shoulder, drifting into sleep as the poet's words weave a tapestry of ancestors and battles, of deserts crossed and oaths kept. Outside, the camels settle into the sand, their movements slow and steady, a living heartbeat of the encampment. The old man's voice resonates with the weight of ages past. His words paint vivid pictures of tribal life, of challenges confronted and traditions upheld. Each tale, a brushstroke on the canvas of your understanding, shaping your perception of the world these people inhabit. The campfire crackles, sending sparks spiraling into the night sky, mirroring the ancient stories reaching for the heavens. You feel a connection to these narratives, recognizing the universal themes of love, loss, loyalty, and courage that transcend time and culture. As the stories unfold, you learn about the tribe's deep reverence for their ancestors. They speak of legendary figures who embodied the ideals of the tribe, individuals whose exploits have become part of the collective memory. You imagine these ancestors as silent guardians watching over the tribe, their spirits intertwined with the very essence of the community. The desert night is filled with the rhythmic pulse of drums, their beats echoing the heartbeat of the earth itself. The music swells, carrying you away on a wave of sound that stirs your soul. You find yourself swaying to the rhythm, your body responding to the primal melody. Suddenly, a hush falls over the encampment. All eyes turn towards the storyteller, hanging on his every word. This is no ordinary tale, but a sacred narrative that has been passed down through generations. It speaks of creation, of how the world was formed and the tribe came into existence. This story is the bedrock of their identity, a constant reminder of where they came from and who they are meant to be. As the poet finishes the story, a profound silence descends upon the gathering. It's a moment for reflection, a time to internalize the lessons and wisdom embedded in the tales. In this quiet contemplation, you find a sense of peace. The vastness of the desert around you, the immensity of the starry sky above you, all seem to conspire to create an atmosphere of tranquility. It's a moment of pure introspection, a chance to align your thoughts and actions with the timeless values of the tribe. But the desert night is alive with more than just stories and music. There's a palpable energy that surrounds you, a connection to something ancient and powerful. You feel a sense of awe at the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to endure and thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. As the night deepens, the desert chill creeps in, wrapping you in its cool embrace. The crackling fire now feels like a beacon of warmth, drawing you closer to those around it. You share smiles and quiet conversations, forging bonds that transcend language and custom. In this shared experience, you find a sense of belonging, a feeling of being part of something larger than yourself. The desert wind whispers secrets through the dunes, carrying with it the scent of sage and the distant call of an owl. It's a lullaby that has cradled generations of nomads, a melody that speaks of endurance and solitude, of resilience and peace. As the first rays of sunlight begin to paint the eastern sky, you feel a renewed sense of purpose. The desert, once a vast and intimidating expanse, now seems like a familiar friend. Its harsh beauty has touched your soul, leaving an indelible mark on your heart. You rise with the sun, ready to face the day with a clear mind and a grateful heart. The desert has taught you the value of simplicity, the power of community, and the importance of staying true to your word. As you prepare to leave the encampment, you carry with you the wisdom of the desert and the echoes of stories that have shaped a nation. The fire is burning low, the shadows have grown long, the talking has died down to quiet murmurs, and the desert night, it's pressing in from all sides. But inside the tent, there's a comfortable stillness. The fabric walls are rippling gently, just like the waves of the sea, but they're swaying to the tune of the night wind. The chief, he's leaned back on his cushions. His work for the day is done. He watched over his people. They're fed and safe in their shelters, and as a guest, you too, are cocooned off from the harshness of the desert night. Out there, the desert wind, it howls like a hungry wolf, but here inside the tent, you're nestled in a comforting silence. The desert stretches endlessly around you, a monochrome expanse of sand dunes and star-studded sky. It's a landscape that seems to swallow all sound, leaving only the whisper of the wind as company. But here in this tent, you're enveloped by the comforting quiet. It's a quiet that doesn't press in on you, but envelops you like a soft blanket, a quiet that speaks volumes without saying a word. You find yourself lulled into a state of calm reflection. The day's journey, the laughter, the chatter, the endless expanse of the desert, it all fades into the background, and you're left with a profound sense of stillness that seems to echo the rhythm of the universe. The fire, it crackles softly, casting dancing shadows on the tent walls. Each flicker of flame seems to tell a silent story of its own, a story as old as the desert sands. You find yourself mesmerized by this flickering light show, each shadow a fleeting memory, each ember a tiny star fallen to earth. You turn to the chief, his face etched with the wisdom of ages, his eyes reflecting the firelight like pools of molten gold. He seems to embody the spirit of the desert, strong and resilient, yet surprisingly gentle. In his presence, you feel a sense of grounding, a connection to something larger than yourself. And then the chief, he starts to speak, his voice a low rumble like distant thunder. But as he begins to share stories of the desert, tales woven with threads of adventure, courage, and the endless mysteries of the night, you find yourself hanging onto his every word. His voice, it resonates with an ancient power, echoing the wisdom of generations past. And as his stories unfold, you feel as if you're journeying through the desert alongside him, experiencing the harsh beauty of the landscape and the resilience of the human spirit. With each tale, the desert comes alive, not just as a barren wasteland, but as a place of wonder, of hidden oases and star-filled skies. The chief's words paint vivid pictures in your mind, and you can almost feel the heat of the sun on your skin, the sting of the desert wind on your face. You can almost taste the sweet nectar of dates plucked straight from the palms, hear the haunting call of an owl echoing in the stillness. And then, as suddenly as it began, the story ends. The chief falls silent, his eyes distant, as if he's seeing something beyond the flickering firelight. For a moment, there's only the crackling of the flames and the whispering of the wind. But then you clear your throat and the silence is broken. The vastness of the desert, the immensity of the star-studded sky, the wisdom of the chief, it's all pressing in on you, and you feel a profound sense of connection. Not just to this place, but to the countless others who have sat around this very fire, listening to the same stories, sharing the same quiet moments under the same vast sky. In this tent, amidst the hypnotic dance of shadows and the mesmerizing tales of the desert, you found more than just a place of rest. You found a sanctuary of shared human experience, a timeless island of peace in the heart of the relentless desert. We have traveled together through the world of ancient Arabia. We have walked in the weary steps of a caravan where thirst and sand defined each day. We have met Khadija, the merchant and matriarch, whose wealth and wisdom shaped a faith. We have stood before Petra, the rose-red city carved in stone, its mysteries lingering in silence. And we have rested in the tent of a chief where hospitality, poetry, and honor gave meaning to life in the desert. These lives are far behind us now, separated by centuries. Yet their rhythms remain, the footsteps in sand, the recited verses, the bonds of kin and trade. In them we glimpse both struggle and beauty, both impermanence and endurance. As you return now to your own time, consider the comfort of the bed beneath you, the ease of water at your side, the quiet security of your home. The desert no longer stretches before you. The caravan has passed. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts drift like sand carried by the wind. And if sleep comes, let it carry you gently like a traveler finally at rest beneath the stars of an endless Arabian night. You might think that's the end, but it's not. There is more to this story. A few thousand years ago, there was a village tucked away in the mountains of Arabia. It wasn't just any village. Oh, no, it was a place where stories unfolded like the desert at sunset, full of turns and surprises. The people here, they weren't just ordinary folks. They loved their tales. They'd sit around, sip their coffee, strong as the midday sun, and trade stories like precious gems. Stories about prophets and kings, journeys across the sands, magic carpets soaring high above the clouds. Each tale had a rhythm of its own, like the beat of a drum echoing the pulse of the desert. Now, one evening as the shadows stretched long like a weaver's shuttle, an old man named Ibrahim sat down among the villagers. His eyes twinkled like stars peeking through the twilight sky. He cleared his throat and began a tale that had echoes of ancient times. A time when the moon seemed closer to the earth than it is tonight, and the stars whispered secrets only the desert wind could carry. Ibrahim told them about a woman named Khadija. She wasn't from these parts. No, she hailed from Mecca, a bustling city where trade winds met and stories gathered like seashells on a shore. Khadija, she was a widow, a rich widow, but not the kind who hoarded her wealth under a bushel basket. Oh, no, she shared her prosperity with a heart as open as the desert sky. Her home, it was a beacon for travelers, a haven for those seeking solace, like an oasis amidst the dunes. She welcomed all, be they merchants with sacks of spices or poets with words as sweet as dates plucked fresh from the palm tree. But there was more to Khadija than her kindness. She had a spirit as untamed as the desert winds, a mind sharper than the finest blade. When Ibrahim spoke of her, it was like he was painting a picture in the air with words. He described how she dressed in fine garments, yet her hands knew no delicacy, how her laughter echoed like wind chimes in the marketplace, mingling with the murmur of languages and the banter of tradesmen. Then Ibrahim paused, letting the silence stretch like the heat haze shimmering above the dunes. He looked at the young faces gathered around him, their eyes reflecting the fading light of day. And with a twinkle in his eye, he continued. He told them about the day a young man named Muhammad stepped into her life. He was a storyteller himself, his words weaving magic in the hearts of all who listened. But there was something different about Muhammad. His stories carried a depth that resonated with Khadija's soul. They spoke of a journey beyond the horizons, a path to righteousness that led to a higher truth. As Muhammad and Khadija conversed, their ideas mingled like frankincense and myrrh, creating an aroma of wisdom that filled the air around them. Their discussions were like the constellations, vast and intricate, touching upon everything from the nature of humanity to the purpose of existence. When Ibrahim spoke of their bond, his voice took on a hushed tone, as if afraid to disturb the sanctity of the moment. He mentioned how their bond was sealed in marriage, not just uniting to souls, but merging to perspectives, to paths, to destinies. And then Ibrahim's voice boomed again, as if the very desert was lending its voice to the tale. He described the birth of their children, each child a new chapter in their story, a verse added to the poem of their lives. Ibrahim painted a picture of a family not just bound by blood, but united by purpose, each member contributing their unique melody to the symphony of their existence. The villagers leaned closer, captivated by Ibrahim's storytelling as he wove a tapestry of their lives, showing how their choices rippled through time. With each passing year, Muhammad's teachings spread like ripples on a pond, touching the lives of many. People from far and wide came to listen to his words, to seek guidance and solace. Ibrahim's voice softened as he recounted how Muhammad, with Khadija by his side, faced opposition, persecution, even forced migration. Yet through it all, their bond remained steadfast, their shared beliefs serving as a compass guiding them through the storms of life. As night deepened, the desert chill settling around them, Ibrahim spoke of a journey that changed everything. Muhammad's journey to Medina, where he not only found refuge, but also established a community, a testament to his teachings and the strength of his convictions. This wasn't just a physical journey, Ibrahim explained. It was a spiritual odyssey that marked a turning point in history. From Medina, Muhammad's influence grew like a mighty acacia tree, its branches providing shade and shelter to those in need. His message of unity, of compassion, of justice, it resonated with the hearts of many, offering them a new way of life, a chance to cultivate peace within themselves and harmony with others. With each passing year, the community expanded, becoming a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. Yet Ibrahim reminded them, despite the growth, Muhammad and Khadija's bond remained their North Star, unwavering and eternal. Khadija, even in the face of societal norms, proved that a woman's wisdom and strength could light the path for many. Her influence, though often unseen, was as powerful as the desert wind, shaping minds and inspiring hearts. She stood beside Muhammad not just as a partner, but as an equal, a fellow traveler on the journey of faith. Ibrahim concluded his tale, and as he did, the night seemed to hush, as if listening to the final words of the story. Looking out over the awestruck faces around him, he saw not just villagers, but a reflection of countless men and women throughout history who had dared to dream of a better world, who had dared to love and lose to hope and persevere. For in their stories, whether whispered around a campfire or etched in the sands of time, they find a piece of themselves. The old man smiled, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of ages. He realized that stories like these weren't just tales. They were threads that wove the tapestry of human existence. They were reminders that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit could shine as brightly as the midday sun, as steadfastly as the North Star, as enduringly as the desert itself.